guys, welcome back to another episode of A Lot of You Have Been Asking. I am so excited to be joined by today's guest, Matty Rossi. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You are a creator, you're a podcaster, you're a fitness influencer, you're doing all the things.
Yeah, I have ADHD, so it's like I'm kind of all over the place, and I think everything on social media reflects that.
Yeah, right? You have your hands in many different pots.
Yes.
And I feel like that's necessary for somebody with ADHD.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I get bored really quickly. So, you know what? Today I'm a fitness influencer.
Hey,
tomorrow I'm a podcaster.
I love
just
it.
yapping away. So.
Hey, you have to do all the things in this industry.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it interesting.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting space to be. I'm so curious because you are living in Boston right now. You're about to make the move to New York.
Yep.
What sparked that? How are you becoming a trader?
I mean, how much time do you have? I'd say so. I have lived in Boston for the past. So I grew up here. So I grew up in the suburb of Newton, so about 15 minutes outside, close to kind of BC's campus, if you're unfamiliar with the area. And I grew up here. I went to school out in the Midwest at the University of Michigan, and then I lived actually in New York for 2 years out of school. And I was commuting about 4 hours a day. I was commuting up to Westchester. I was working at PepsiCo at the time, and I won't sugarcoat it. I hated it. Like, I fucking hated my life. I was never in Manhattan. I was paying New York City rent. I was working all the time or commuting all the time, and I was miserable. And I started to apply to different jobs, one being back in Boston. And then, conveniently, right as I had accepted the job and gotten someone to sublet my apartment, COVID hit.
Oh, God.
So basically, the entire city of New York shut down during that. And if that wasn't a sign, I don't know what was. So I moved home. You know, we thought we were going remote for 2 weeks.
Yeah, did you do like the pack a bag for 2 weeks, but then never went back type of thing?
Exactly. So like I moved home. I was like, cool, I'll start apartment hunting. I think I had gone into my office for 2 weeks, met everyone, and then from there we were remote for almost 2 years.
Oh my God.
So eventually I moved into South Boston with some high school friends, had a great time. It felt like Prohibition era back then.
Yeah, oh my God.
You know, especially in Southie where people were finding ways to get together with the restrictions.
The things
and
we
stuff.
used to do.
Yeah, it was
the porch chilling, the backyard. Like, it really did feel like Prohibition era.
Yeah, I bought a karaoke machine, and I would go on the street like once you at this point you could sit at restaurants and drink, but then afterwards you had to leave and they closed early. So I'd pull people on the street. I was like, I got a karaoke machine. And it was like felt like a kid luring kids into like a van with candy.
No,
I was
right?
like, I got a karaoke machine up there.
And
you
at
wanna...
that time you jumped on that.
Yeah, and everyone was like, yeah, 100%. Like,
count me in.
I didn't realize how sketchy it was, but back then I think everyone was pretty desperate. So
we were.
I lived here since I ended up, I lived in Southie for 2 years. I then moved to Seaport for 2 years. I was working in the beer industry here in Boston, so for the company that owns Sam Adams. And it was a great time. I really loved it. But along the way, I started posting on social media. Basically, I was a brand manager, so I was working within the world of marketing and not necessarily in social media specifically, but working very close to it. And I just started to see how the industry was growing and how a lot of the brands that people were choosing to purchase and, you know, post on their social media really was determined by what these creators were doing. Like, the creators had full control, and not just control and influence, but they had money. Like, they were making a ton of money.
So
I was
much.
looking at the checks that we were cutting to these companies or to these creators, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
like,
right? How do I get my hands in this pot?
This one creator made my salary off of one post.
Yeah,
so,
it's insane.
So I didn't know what I was going to do. I just started posting once a day, every day. It was anything from like day in the life videos to funny videos with me and my little wiener dog, which I always say, like, my little wiener.
Well, I was going to say, that's how
dog.
I first found you. I first saw you. I was like, I know your wiener.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very famous online for my wiener.
Yeah.
My little hairy wiener. But he couldn't make it today. He unfortunately had another booking.
Oh, my goodness.
He's busy as well.
Well, I would have had to pay him the big bucks to be here.
I'm free. He's not. So yeah, I just started, and slowly we started to kind of find our audience and grow, and started to really just monetize it a little bit as a side hustle. But then over time, it got to a point where I was making more money than my regular job, and I stuck with it for a while. Like, I did both for a long time, but then it got to a point where I was really burnt out. I think a lot of times there's the misconception that influencers don't really do anything all day, and they
talk about that a lot on
they do
here,
and I think there is some reality to it, but I think if you've ever sat down and tried to edit a video and done it in like less than an hour, like it takes time, and then you got to do the video and then a caption and all the other stuff, and it's definitely privileged work, I will say,
for sure,
but it is work, and then you're doing that on top of a 9-to-5 job of fitness. Like I was training for marathons, I was going to the gym, I was doing all the other things, trying to maintain a social life, and it's difficult. So I found myself burnt out, and then this year at the beginning of January, I decided to take the leap. I'm kind of on the crux of my 30th birthday this year. My birthday is coincidentally the second to last day of the year. It's December
so it's
30th.
Really like your bucket list year.
So this is my bucket year list. I started something that I call the 29 Project, which I created a bingo card of doing all of the things I've ever wanted to do, some that are terrifying and really scare me, and some that are just fun things, like going to surf in Hawaii. Like they weren't all scary, but that
would scare me.
There's not as many sharks there.
Tsunamis.
The tsunami. I missed tsunami season, I think. But so I really just committed to giving myself everything I ever wanted for my 29th birthday, leading into my 30th year, and one of those was leaving my job. And on that list is to move somewhere new. So coming back to your, again, long-winded way to answer your question.
No, these were all things that we were going to discuss anyway, so I'd love to hear that.
Perfect. So moving somewhere new has been a part of that. Granted, it took me longer than expected. We're now in August. I started this in January, but there were a lot of other things on the list that I really wanted to fall into place first. I think, when you leave a job to do something a little bit less stable, not a little bit, very much less stable than a 9-to-5 with content creation, there were some things that I just wanted to kind of see how they fell into place before I started making some big decisions, like committing to a New York City rent.
I know.
So
that's a big feat in itself, honestly. Being able to do that, I mean, it proves that you made the right choice in trying to pursue this full time. That now you are able to move.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there was a lot of pieces that went to it. I think one thing kind of fueled the other in terms of what I was checking off my bucket list and kind of enabling me to do the other things. Like, I think that in completing these tasks, I've become the most authentic in real version of myself and really pushed myself out of my comfort zone in a lot of ways. One of the things was coming out like publicly, and that was a big one. But I think when you finally like step into who you are and start to do the things that you've always wanted to do, you start to do them as your full self. And the universe, not to get all kind of sappy, like has a way of kind of rewarding you in that. So
it does.
This has all been kind of a manifestation of that. So I love Boston. I think it's really bittersweet to leave. Like, I'm now moving next week, but I found myself really comfortable in Boston, and as grateful as I am for the place and the community, I think it's another instance of me needing to push myself out of my comfort zone in order to really grow. So that's why I decided on New York City. I have some friends there and kind of a bigger network, and in terms of the creator world, there's just a lot more
opportunities
there. So that's how I landed on the place, and I went and apartment hunted a few weeks ago. I landed on a spot, and I'll be moving next week, so I'm excited.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's so cool because I feel like a lot of times, a lot of people look at 30 as like this daunting like task that's coming. Like like, when I get to 30, my life ends. That's how I felt
that's
about
how
it.
I felt too.
And I really do feel like my life has just gotten so much better since I have turned 30. So I feel like, and I've talked with a lot of people on the podcast about this, that like 30s are such the new 20s, and like we don't talk about it enough. And so I love to hear about the 29 project that you called it. And what are some of the things that you have obviously you talked a little bit about like the coming out experience of it all. What was that like? Because coming out on itself to the people around you is one thing. Doing it on social media, I can't even imagine what that was like.
I think like my coming out had different stages. There was my like coming out to myself, right? Then there was friends, family, and then you had this almost more daunting, like that kind of made it easy. I think the typical person, that they've come out once they've kind of hit those things, right? But when you are more of a public figure, albeit I'm a smaller creator, but I had also been on The Bachelorette, which was a very
that's crazy
like public appearance as like a straight acting man, and I think it just added this layer of fear, but at the same time, that was the scariest thing I'd ever done, was like going on that show, and I was like, well, I can do scarier. And I think it was harder than having to come out publicly, and felt like I needed to explain myself. But then what I realized is you don't really ever have to explain anything.
Yeah, you can choose and pick what you share.
Yeah, like life's a journey. Like we figure out who we are through living it. Like we're not born into this world knowing who we are. And I think that was a key part of my journey overall. And instead of having it be this kind of terrifying, daunting thing that kept me in the closet, it could also be something that could be really powerful in inspiring others who might be struggling with their journey.
Yeah.
And if I have conquered this mountain, then someone else can too. And then also it just started this like avalanche of like, there's nothing that terrifies me anymore.
Yeah,
like, I want to do this, and this.
And so you're now becoming like an adrenalin junkie of sorts.
Except sharks. Sharks terrify me. I won't go in the water in the cave or anything.
Understandably. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I never had to come out on social media because I came out of my mom gay.
Yeah.
So it's like interesting to
Platinum
hear
gay.
about exactly.
Were your C-section?
I was a C-section, so I am a platinum guy. Yeah, that's honestly that is my badge of honor right there. But what have you learned about yourself through social media? Because obviously pursuing it full time is one thing. Obviously, coming out online is one thing. But you're also a business owner.
Yeah.
Like what are there's so many layers to this industry and to like discovering yourself as a business owner.
Yeah.
What's one of the things that you have?
Well, I think overall social media kind of became a way of me being able to self-actualize myself. I think when I first started on social media, it was extremely curated. I think when you're first putting yourself out there, it's really terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
You're subject to all of these comments by anyone that has access to the internet.
Yeah.
Like user 1849743 is going to criticize everything about you. And it's scary, and I think you take a lot of it to heart. But as you get into it, you kind of grow a thick skin and kind of can grow the perspective of like, who is this person, the blank profile. So like, I think you get through it. But I think you start to reveal more about yourself. And I think the beauty of these algorithms is it's really matching like-minded communities with creators. So I started to find the people that really resonated with me, whether that was being a single guy in my 20s with a dog, living alone in a city, trying my best to like manage my career. Like I was able to kind of find myself. And then as I showed more of myself, I got like more and more support for different pieces. So I think it really helped build confidence in who I am, as long as you can tune out all of the
bad noise.
The bad noise, exactly. So I think social media is really what you make of it, and that can be a positive thing or a negative thing. So I think it's been great in that. I think in terms of a business perspective, I think it really granted me everything I ever wanted. Like I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I came from a family of immigrants. Like my parents were, my mom was born in Italy. My dad was born here, but his parents had just moved here from Italy. I grew up in the Italian neighborhood in Newton. So it was a little bit more blue collar in Newton. And my dad started his own business, and my mom started her own business. She's a hairdresser, has a hair salon. And
so you're growing up seeing that.
Yeah, my grandparents had started an Italian restaurant that's still open to this day. And my dad was like working there and then also kind of going into real estate. Neither went to college. So I think I was just born with this entrepreneurial kind of spirit that while I was able to have the privileges of going to like a university and being one of the first in my family to do that, I wanted to take advantage of it, but at the same time, I wanted to
do what they were doing.
It's funny. I always use the example of like I was named Matthew because my parents have both very Italian names that no one could pronounce in school, like when they're reading the attendance list. Yeah. Then I was like, why didn't you name me Matteo? Matteo would have been so much cooler. It's like we want what we don't have.
Yeah, but it really is that.
So when I went down, like I ended up going to business school and going down the career kind of or the corporate ladder, climbing it, and I enjoyed it. I learned a lot, but it wasn't as fulfilling as me like getting to create my own thing. But I learned really the basics of how to do it, like how to build a brand. So with social media, that really enabled me to start to do that while I was doing my full-time job. Yeah. So whether it was just me building my personal brand to then eventually building out the podcast and getting to design a logo and come up with a name and try and identify who the audience for the podcast is going to be, what's the content going to be like, what's its promise, its tone, like all of those things that you would do when you're building a brand. I was able to apply it, and it really brought me back to that original desire to be an entrepreneur. And
so cool, because it feels like everything that you've done has led, like, it's in a weird, like, not like a universal schmoozy way. It's like they've all contributed to where you are now in some way. Like, they've kind of built, everything you've done has built to where you are now.
Yeah.
And
even the hard
allowed you
stuff
to be successful at this stuff. And obviously, like, sharing your life online is not easy by any means. And then also it being a business is not easy by any means. So it seems like you've, like, melded the two very well.
Yeah, but it didn't happen overnight either. I mean, I've now been doing this over 2.5 years, and I think what you don't see on the social media is the late night stressing, editing, trying to figure out, why something works and something doesn't, even though you did the same thing twice. One time it worked, one time it didn't, or then that random video you post.
Yeah, it's like, why did that one bomb and that one did really well?
Exactly, like there's no rhyme or reason to it, but I think what you really have to do is stay consistent and stay true to really yourself and what value you're trying to provide to an audience. And I think you just kind of refine over time. But from like a universe perspective, I think just the more, it's so cliche, but the more that you can be true to yourself and authentic, the more successful you're going to be in it, because you're not really trying to be a certain thing. You just are
that,
and you can step into it. And I think for a while, like, I struggled with that, where it was like, be authentic. I'm like, I'm being authentic. But I knew I knew what part of me wasn't.
You're like, this is real, this is me.
Yeah. But I think what authentic means is not always, exactly who you are, but almost a vulnerability. It's like authentic in our weaknesses. And I think that brings an influencer down to a viewer's kind of level. Not saying that like an influencer up there, but I just mean, it's nice when you don't see someone just living in their luxury apartment, living this perfect life, and they're telling you that they struggle with body dysmorphia or, are closeted, or they have estranged family members, like those things that are the real parts of life that you actually relate to. And I think that's the shift you're seeing in social media
for sure
nowadays, is it's gone from the days of the still Instagram photos with the aesthetic grids to the more messy stuff and the more real stuff that you can actually relate to. So.
Yeah, I think the Instagram versus reality of it all, like the pivot that we're seeing right now is really interesting. And I also think that it's developing right now. I mean, this industry is changing every single day.
Yeah.
Like, I can't keep up with
like
it.
Like a Labubu. Like, what the hell is a Labubu? I have one hanging in my car now.
No, there's literally there's something new every single day. There's a new trend, like a Labubu, like you said. What do you think is something that people might think about you following you online versus like the reality of who you are? Because a lot of people will say like for me, I'm not as extroverted as people would imagine me to be. Yeah. I'm much more introverted.
Yeah.
But what would be something like that for you?
I think it's changed a bit recently, but I think traditionally, I mean, I started my content of like me, like working as almost just a, yuppie seaport, nice apartment, like trust fund kid, probably works in finance, has like this really nice apartment. Granted, my apartment was a studio. I was just really good at setting up the camera so that the angles looked different, but it was literally 4 walls in less than 300 square feet. So I think that there was just the like more of the same. And I think as my journey unfolded, I think showing more of myself and those vulnerabilities, I think people, I've started to see like a different side of me. And I honestly, what I always say is I take the work seriously. I take the social media seriously, but I don't take myself seriously.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see some of my stuff is crazy out there, like sometimes sassy, witty.
Yep.
And then sometimes it's a little bit more like kind of heartfelt, inspirational, like sometimes cheesy. Like that's fine. But like I think it's just as long as it's resonating with one person and it feels true to me, like then I've done my job.
Yeah,
like
I always say people either go to social media to feel community or to be entertained. So if you're doing one of those two things, it's a pat on the back for yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And I always say, like, I'm somewhere between lifestyle and entertainment. Like, I want you to be inspired by my life, but I also want you to kind of have fun doing it. Like, I want to kind of bring a laugh along, whether that's with my dog or just, you know, silly takes on everyday life. I think that's kind of the value that I try and provide.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want is to make it seem, you know, like that traditional, like, oh, I have this aspirational life.
Yeah,
and
the unattainable.
Yeah, the unattainable. Like, no, anyway, I was just a kid from a, you know, a first-generation college student from an immigrant family that was busting my ass in corporate America that decided to just try and change it. But it didn't happen again overnight.
No,
It took a long time.
I think a lot of times, too, people see, like, the instant nature of TikTok or an Instagram. Like, one video goes viral and someone can gain 100,000 followers overnight.
Yeah.
And I think that is not the norm.
No.
It's the exception.
Yeah.
A lot of us are, like, going at this for years trying to make a mountain out of a molehill type situation. So I think it's important to have those conversations and talk about that, because a lot of people now, like, kids these days, like, when they grow up, like, want to be streamers or creators, YouTubers, whatever it is. Like, it's a real industry that people are now, like, really investing their time and energy into.
Yeah, and it is true. Like, you do have the people that have those one-off viral moments, but I think a lot of the times, and I think I learned this in brand management as well, like, the strongest brands, the strongest creators are the ones that have been doing it over time, that are building really strong, loyal audiences. I mean, how many times have you had a brand pop up, skyrocket, and then never to be heard of again? Like, I will say Little Boo Boo's probably, like, just to use that example, is probably going to go down.
Such a trend. I hope it goes away.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another example of something that just exploded, had all the attention, and then immediately just fizzled out.
There's creators that this happens with.
It does.
That they, you know, go viral for one thing, and then they don't have any, like, sustainability in the business anymore, and that, you know, their views go down, or people aren't as interested in them anymore. It's just kind of like the nature of the business.
And there are some that have been able to then take that step back and also be like, okay, what did this viral moment provide to an audience that I can emulate in a sustainable way? And that's also out there, but it's like you said, it's the outliers. It's definitely not the average path. So I think that a lot of times when you see people trying to become creators, they post their one video, they don't go viral, and then they're like, I'm done, move on to the next thing. And it's like, oh, you're going to have that.
The consistency is
hundreds
necessary.
of times. Yeah, like, you have to consistently fail to then start to succeed.
Oh my God, yeah. What was it like when you started posting online? Were you like, this is weird, what are my friends from high school going to think? Because that's how I was. I was like, they're going to all think I'm a freak. Yeah. And now it's so much more normal, but years ago, was it?
I think someone called me a male Martha Stewart because at one point I was doing, like, videos like Sunday resets and such, and just day in the lives. And there weren't a ton of guys at the time doing day in the lives. Now there are. Like, you have fitness influencers or healthy routine lifestyle people, but at the time there really wasn't that many.
Yeah.
And so that was that one at the time, I think, hurt, but now I'm like, Martha Stewart's great. Like, she's a homie.
Boss
like,
ass bitch.
Yeah, I love her. Like, that was a compliment. But yeah, I think I started on TikTok because it felt more anonymous at the time, even though TikTok does that thing where it like takes your contacts and shoots videos. Like, in your contacts, I'm like, why are you outing me like that? But I started on TikTok, and I think that allowed me to really, like, refine the craft. Like, if it was shitty editing or just a bad video.
Yeah.
It
wasn't seeing as many people that you knew in person.
Yeah, I think the beauty of a video not doing well is that it doesn't do well, so not that many people see it, right? So I was able to kind of refine it. I think I started Instagram probably like 6 to 9 months after TikTok.
Okay.
And when I hit Instagram, I kind of hit the ground running because I had gotten a lot of the kinks out.
Yeah. And was it your Instagram that you already had, or was it like a fully new one?
Yeah,
so the people that were there were probably like,
what the fuck?
What's going on here?
Yeah. Oh, they were like, what is Matt doing? He's trying to be an influencer. But I think what the cool thing was when I got to Instagram at that time, they were like, oh no, he's been doing this on TikTok. Like, he has already 10,000 on TikTok. He's just bringing it here. So I think that helped. But I don't know. What am I going to do? Not take risks and push myself? Because the one kid who I went to high school with, who is sitting at home, like, with his kid, like, miserable, drinking beers on his couch. No offense if you do that. If you enjoy that, by all means, do it.
Yeah,
but like, I'm not going to critique your life. You don't critique mine.
No, and I mean, you open yourself up to the critique when you do post online, but there's so many keyboard warriors. Do you see yourself getting a lot of hate? And if so, how do you deal with it?
I think it ebbs and flows. I think that depending on the content, I think some everyday content, not a ton of hate. I think when you push the boundaries a little bit, whether it's with joking or, just kind of taking more of a creative risk, you're bound to upset some people. I think when you post more polarizing content, that's the content that does the best. I mean, I've gotten people in my comment section because I made a joke about not being lactose intolerant. Yeah. And then you have all of the lactose intolerant tummy warriors coming at me. And I'm like, so I think like when you've gotten hate for just some of the dumbest stuff ever, it kind of desensitizes you. I'm never going to come out and make, jokes about, really serious, politics.
Really serious.
I think like one thing, like I start to talk now more about, gay jokes and my identity, and I think
that's
a lot of people.
That's one of my favorite series.
The things that I find gay that are objectively not gay, and it just like pisses. It just take the straightest things ever and find ways to make them gay, and it's really funny because I don't think it really harms anyone. No. I think in the title, I'm saying it's objectively not gay, and I'm finding crazy out of this world. Like dating a woman, it's gay. Well, you know what? Why do you want to hang out with a girl all the time? But I think there are some people that maybe are not brought up to speed on. I'm now out and proudly out and a part of the community that it's like. You kind of get the cred to push the boundaries a little bit more there because it's playful and fun. And some people are like, this is homophobic. I'm like, I don't.
You're like, I don't find it.
Yeah, I don't find it. I'm like,
I certainly don't.
I'm like, is it homophobic when I hook up with guys? Because like. So it's
there are some people that do that.
Yeah, or some
but
people.
Not you.
I'll get a comment that's like, oh yeah, well you're gay, and I go, yeah, wow, you thought
really
thought
hit the
you
nail
with
on the head with that one. That's so funny.
But they're like, I can tell you're gay because your voice. I go, really not because I've been hooking up with guys.
Yeah, right.
That's what gave it away.
Key indicators that led me to this place right here.
But I think with that, like you get more. But I think again, I know I'm being true to myself. I'm adding value with humor.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. And so those kind of comments, you kind of.
Gotta let them brush off.
Yeah, let them brush off. So.
What's one thing you learned about the industry that you didn't necessarily know beforehand? I know you talked about because you worked on like the brand marketing side of stuff.
Yeah.
Once you became a creator yourself and you saw the first paycheck come in, what was one thing you were like, oh shit?
I mean, the money's real. I think you also said like when you saw like when you start doing social media, and what are people going to think? I'm like, I don't really care what they think because I'm bringing these checks to the bank, and it's like there is nothing they could say that's going to make this check feel bad.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. But I think I was aware of the potential. I think what I didn't realize was you don't have to be a super big creator to make a really strong salary from it. Like you don't need to have 100,000 followers. You can do 10 to 20K, have a pretty strong side hustle, matching your regular day job, sometimes even surpassing it. I think it's a work ethic thing. Like you have to. I was saying yes to a lot of brand deals, and I was working late nights to make them work in addition. So I think you can definitely make it work. I think other things was what I learned, and this is more when I started to meet creators in the world. Oftentimes, there are some creators that are exactly like they are on social media. There are some that are not at all, but in totally different ways.
Totally.
Like they act super maybe sassy or mean, but then they are the sweetest people in the world. And then you have some that are kind of the flip of that, where you think they're so sweet and nice. Yeah, and then you talk to them and they are just the worst person ever. Like
it's such a mixed bag.
Yeah, it really is. I think I fall into I think when people meet me in person, they're a little bit more pleasantly surprised. Than the social media, which I'd rather. Like, I'd rather you maybe not like me more on social media than you meet me in person. You're like, oh wait, he's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, right.
So I take that.
He's a fucking bitch.
Yeah, he's an asshole. Like, no. And I love when I get to meet people. I think with social media, you have this parasocial relationship.
I know, it's such a weird thing.
There are people that come up to me, they're like, this is so weird, but like, I know like everything about you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's not that weird. I put my entire life on the internet.
People always say that. They're like, it's so weird that congratulations on getting engaged recently. Like, I know it's so weird that I know that. I'm like, I share I'm arguably weird.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
shared my life on the internet. So like, there's a reason you know it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you're not the only one. I'm like, this is my job for a reason.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then like, can we get pictures? Like, I love meeting people. I love, asking them like, what do you do? Where are you from? Like, I always say I'm not that important. Like, it's just say hi.
They're like, can we get a picture? I'm like, who do you think I am? Like President
I'm like,
Obama?
Actually, can I get a picture of you getting a picture?
Yeah, right. I want to show this to my friends that people actually care.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing or a few things with social media that were pleasantly surprising. And I think also the ability to build community. Like I've met some creators that have really had a profound impact on me, not just in a creator world, but personally. And I think what I love to hear as a creator and what I'm never afraid to share with a creator is just how much they've impacted me. Like I've met creators and I've said, I just want to let you know, you being so authentically yourself and not caring and drowning out the noise really allowed me to, even if you're talking about really crazy, raunchy things,
whatever it is,
they all serve a purpose.
Totally.
And I think I love when people resonate with something beyond just a silly joke in my content, especially like I've gotten so many DMs, just people saying that like hearing my journey has inspired them too, and that they came out to their first person or friend because of me, or
which is incredible.
Like, really, and that's just that like I have a sweatshirt on, but I have goosebumps, and like it gives me goosebumps, and that's kind of the impact that I want to have. Like it's sure. Money's great, quitting my job, entrepreneurs, like chasing my dreams, whatever. I think when you can start to use the content to actually make an impact on people's lives is when you really know that you've like made it.
For sure. Yeah, I always say like I post a lot with like my mom and stuff like that, and a lot of times like my demographic is like 95% women in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And they're always like, I want my relationship with my son to be the relationship that you have with your mom.
Yeah.
Like it means so much to me, and I'm always like, all right, that is like I have really, like you said, made it in that situation. Like, it just makes me feel like so whole.
Yeah.
That you can have that effect on somebody that you don't even know.
And you'd be surprised what the things that people resonate with are. Like, it can be anything.
The gamut. Like, it's crazy. Truly all over the place.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I always make Short King jokes. And they're like, you make me proud to be short. I'm like, I'm over here stuffing my shoes.
I saw today you do your morning stretches on the stretch machine.
Oh yeah, I hang upside down. I'm like, maybe if I can get an extra half inch.
Gotta do what you can. Well, there is that stigma, especially in Boston, about the Short King community.
Oh yeah, this is the city of Short Kings for sure. But I think we reign strong. It's we are the majority here.
Yeah.
So I almost don't even want to be tall in this city.
No,
to stand out.
You don't need to be.
No. So I think, I own it. I think a lot of times people are like, you're so insecure, just own it. I'm like, this is me owning it.
Yeah,
like,
right? I'm making a joke about it.
I love it.
I can do it.
I never disclose what my height is on the internet either. Like, it's this kind of heated
Do we get an exclusive? No, I'm kidding.
No, well, you'd have to bleep it.
Yeah. All right.
But
I have a couple rapid fire questions for you
let's do it.
I want to ask you, because we are obviously Bostonians. Fuck, marry, kill. Fenway Park, the Garden. You have to be careful because we are at the Garden filming this right now.
Yeah, I already know. I hope your next one is what I think it is.
Fuck, Patriots.
Yeah, kill it. I hate Gillette Stadium. Sorry, I
honestly,
do work them. I hate getting there. I hate leaving. It takes an hour just to leave the parking lot. It's so far. There's no public transport to get there. You can't Uber there. So it's like when I go there, I either have to drive or someone has to DD.
Yep.
And it's just not as fun.
It's not.
They always have the best stuff though. Like,
they do.
They you get your Taylor Swift. You get your
that's where all
Morgan
the best
Wallen
concerts
was just
are.
there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the one that I did go to that I enjoyed was a Revs game because no one goes.
You're like, so it's a little much less.
Yeah, it was like a Wednesday, and I was like, oh yeah, we're in and out. Like this is easy. But so easy kill there. I think I'd fuck the Garden and I'd marry Fenway Park.
Yeah,
like
Fenway Park
is my favorite. So I grew up like going there again. I grew up in the Boston area, and this is a fun fact I've actually never talked about, but my cousin, who was more of like an aunt to me, like age-wise, my mom's the youngest of six, so the ages are all weird, but she's like more of an aunt. She's my godmother. She used to date a Red Sox player.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up getting to kind of get the back access and go in the family room and just go in the
behind
dugout
the green monster
stuff.
and stuff like that.
I got also like Fenway just has such close place to my heart in my childhood. Yeah, but then even to this day, there is nothing better than a summer Fenway concert. God. Like when sunset's hitting and the set's starting it is just pure bliss.
No, truly.
I've also been tossed out of that park like so many times too.
One too many beers.
Yeah, a few too many.
Or the vodka lemonades.
Now I understand why they have a 2 drink per person minimum, because I really Kim Pushy surprised. But yeah, it's such a magical place. There's so much history. It's convenient.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love going out to the bars after.
It's the best.
It's my favorite.
I need to go to another Fenway game this summer. Another hot take I have for you, or a question I have for you, because you mentioned about being on The Bachelor.
Yeah.
We love talking about pop culture.
I wish I was on The Bachelor. I was on The Bachelorette.
Bachelorette, sorry. You're like, I wish I was on The Bachelor. Yeah. On The Bachelorette. Tell me about that experience. What was it like?
Traumatic.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I think, okay, so.
Whose season were you on?
I was on Jen's. So I was a bit of a plot twist. So she was the last Bachelorette. So this was the last Bachelorette season to happen because they canceled the last one. Mm-hmm. So she was the last Bachelorette. She was on the season of The Bachelor prior. They had some other contenders for The Bachelorette. And I had we had rekindled kind of before she went on the show, but then we started talking like really every day, because she was starting to get into now the public space, and I was already doing social media and kind of pretty established in it. So we kind of could relate to each other now, being in this new layer of the public eye, and through it, like, she started to visit me. We started, really accelerating, and she was going to come to I had 2 weddings coincidentally in Colombia the same week, both in Cartagena.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it was just so wild. So she was coming with me to be my +1. I had gotten like a hotel. It was going to be this whole romantic thing, and I was going to be like, I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend again, and we're going to live happily ever after. A week before we're supposed to leave, I get a call from her. She technically wasn't supposed to tell me, but she's like, the other girls dropped out, like, they want me to fly out in 2 days to be the Bachelorette. I was like,
crazy.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, right.
Because they do that. They have offered the show to people, and then a different girl gets out of the limo kind of thing.
You hear about all that type of stuff behind the scenes.
I don't really care about the contestants. It's all about views and stuff. But I was kind of in disbelief, but I was like, yeah, I mean, go. Like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to stop you from this opportunity? And, like, we weren't formally back together. Like, we were in this kind of in-between. So I was disappointed. I had to eat the cost of, the whole trip. I still went. But So then now it was about, I think, 24 to 48 hours before I was supposed to leave to Colombia. And I had, like, sent out, like, a random on a whim DM. And this is, like, again, like, universe. If it's meant to be, it'll be. To, like, one of the producers. I wasn't even sure if she was a producer. I was just like, whatever. And I shot out a note just being like, hey, I, like, don't know what the hell is going on. But, Jen and I left things just kind of open.
Yeah.
I, like, just if you have a chance, like, get back to me. I feel like there's just some unfinished business. And I mean, granted, yeah, they ate that up. Like, that's the kind of stuff
exactly
that they
what they
like.
want.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, well, you can come. At this point, it had been now a week into filming, because they really get right to it.
Yeah.
And so I was like getting on the plane the next day. I was like, I can't like fly. They're like, we're in New Zealand. They're like, you got to fly to New Zealand. I was like, I got a wedding in 2 days in Colombia.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing that. And then they were like, well, like, this is your only opportunity. Like, how much do you really care? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, let me just go through the process. So I had to do, like, background checks, like, legal screenings, STD tests. And granted, like, I'm packing my bag and supposed to be leaving, and I'm running around Boston trying to get FBI background checks and blood tests and everything, psychological exams, like, to make sure I was not crazy, which somehow that slipped through. But then I'm now in Colombia. It's the morning of the wedding, and they give me the green light, and they're like, okay, like, you can fly this morning. So now I have to tell not just one wedding, but 2 weddings, the second of which I was in.
Oh, God.
That I couldn't come, and that I was flying. And they're like, what do you mean you can't come? You're here.
Yeah, right. Like, hello.
They're like, you already came.
You're down
what
the
are
street.
you? Yeah. So, like, you came to the welcome party, and so I got on a plane. I flew 36 hours from Cartagena to Bogota to Santiago, Chile, and then Chile to Auckland, New Zealand, where I went literally from the airport. I took like a little shower in one of like a cafe bathroom where I'm like dousing the water on my face, like changing out, like just it was gross. brushing my teeth, and I show up and talk to her, surprise her. She was really surprised, but I think I could tell and she could tell. Like, I think it was nice to just see a familiar face. Like, when you're in this world, it's a
totally out-of-body experience.
It's kind of like the Hunger Games. Like, everyone's watching in a way. You have this produced environment and this kind of false reality. So I think her seeing me there was a relief, but then it's also like 1 week there moves fast.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's now gone on a lot of dates. She's met a lot of guys.
I'm sure she's invested in other relationships.
She's invested in stuff, but I think she also cared about the relationship to see it further. So we talked. She invites me to, like, the rose ceremony that night. Ultimately, we talk. She's like, my husband's in that room. Spoiler alert, he wasn't. And, lets me go, and I, like, am just like, okay, well, now I'm in New Zealand alone. What do I do? I went to go see Hobbiton, where they filmed the Hobbits. And I was like, oh, back to the homeland of the short kings.
You got a nice, right? You're like, let's add insult to injury.
Yeah. Like, I got little elf ears, and I'm like, we got to make the best of every situation.
That's insane. Holy shit.
Yeah. And I think one part of the story that just, like, really didn't get told at the time was I had been open with my sexuality with Jen. So I identify as bisexual, and she was the first person I was intimate with in my life that knew, and she had known for like over a year at that point. So I really just felt a level with her that I had never been like with anyone else. So that's why I was like willing to fly across the world. Everyone's like, well, why would you do that? I was like, you don't know what I had to go through just to get to this.
Well, there were layers to it. Yeah. You guys were deep in it.
Yeah. So I wasn't ready to let that go. And if it was gonna have to end, then at least I know that I did everything in my power to kind of explore it. Exactly, because you regret the things you don't do, not the things you do. Even though that, if I had one regret, I mean, that would be a pretty strong contender. And
you got to go to Hobbitland.
Yeah, exactly. I got my elf ears still. I put them in my bedside table in case I ever want to bring them out.
No. That's insane. What an experience, though.
I think now, like, Jen and I we're great friends.
Yeah.
Like, we're on great terms. I support her. I was voting with her on Dancing with the Stars every week.
I love that.
We check in. She literally just texted me yesterday, and she's like, "How we doing?" Like,
yeah.
So we have a great relationship. I think it also just like created this mutual sense of appreciation for each other that even in these kind of crazy situations.
Hey, you're willing to travel around the world for each other. That's a good friendship right there.
Yeah, if I was in her position, I would love that attention.
100%.
Call me old-fashioned.
Have a room of men waiting for you.
Yeah, and then another flying in, and you're like, that would feel good.
Goals.
So I'd say like overall, the experience was not how I would have liked it to go. Because then now you get a whole new layer of hate comments. Like with that, like Bachelor Nation is very passionate, and they think they know the whole story of everyone, and you kind of forget that this is a TV show. So
there's production here.
Yeah, but I think that led me really on this journey of the 29 Project and coming out, and like I had done this really terrifying thing, so other things stopped being scary. And even when it comes down to the podcast, my podcast is not to like plug it, but like it is called,
I want to talk about it. The Scaries.
It's called The Scaries, and it started out of an Instagram series where I just posted on my story one day with the question box with horrible Sunday scaries. Like, tell me why you have the Sunday scaries in hopes that it would make me feel better.
Entertain me in some way to get my mind off of things.
Yeah, and I started just like sharing them, and they were crazy stories. Like, I hooked up with 8 guys in a sauna. Like, I did all these crazy things. So it kind of made me feel better, but then me sharing it and having these kind of witty takes, but sometimes helpful advice started to resonate with other people. And like when it came to quitting my job and I knew I wanted to start a podcast, but I didn't know what, like, I was like, well, I have this series that really resonates. So, and it kind of fit with this whole story of me facing my fears and all the things that scare me. And I think, so basically what I do now is I take real submissions from people as to why they have the Sunday scaries, anything from career to dating to just crazy drunk nights out. And I do my best to help you through it and cure it. And if it doesn't necessarily cure yours, it might cure someone else's.
Yeah, and even listening to it, like you might relate to something that somebody submits and you might be like, oh, I can relate to that in this way. The way that you respond to it, you can, I think that that's such a cool concept.
Yeah, and it's become a vehicle for me. It was how I came out publicly. And I wanted this to be a really true and authentic representation of myself while helping other people, but it's still being lighthearted and fun.
Yeah,
so like, we'll have crazy, fun, raunchy stories, but then sometimes I'll use it as an opportunity to talk about my coming out story or my career journey and stuff like that, so that it's pretty dynamic, but still contained within this kind of subject of helping other people with their scaries. So
I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
So that whole experience, albeit not positive, I think like really in life you have to take everything that happens to you and learn from it and apply it, and you really can't lose, right?
Yeah.
Like if you stop taking things so seriously and making everything so catastrophic, like you can actually use it to your advantage. And I think that's the whole point of the scaries. It's let's learn from our mistakes no matter what you did.
And it can put you on a trajectory that you never even had envisioned for yourself.
100%.
Like where you are right now, you didn't think this was going to be the possibility years ago.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to be messy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not afraid to share my chaotic stories, to be a little unfiltered, because the reality is we all are. Like, no one's perfect.
I think it's so refreshing.
And I think it just makes everyone feel just a little bit more relieved and part of this community of people that, we want to do our best, but, we're going to have fun and fuck up along the way.
Big time. As we all do. That's human life. That's the experience of life.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's very refreshing to hear, like, your take on that, and to hear, like, the premise behind Scaries. I feel like it's such a cool concept that not a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, it's cool now, like, looking back on the journey, because I think, when I'm navigating this all, you're like, where the fuck am I going? Like, I don't have a map for this,
What's
right?
next? What's the next step going to be? How am I going to, like, there's no blueprint.
Yeah, but looking back, you kind of find a way to create the path of your own, and I think right now I'm in an inflection point with, like, the move to New York, and while it's scary, like, I'm terrified. I'm like,
I can only imagine.
I'm like, am I fucking up doing this? I'm leaving behind friendships, family, a strong career here, and network, and going somewhere completely new and foreign. And that terrifies me. But at the same time, I know that I have the tools and at least the courage to do my best to make it work in whatever way.
That's
and
so cool.
Whatever that journey is. So I'm hoping that, in a few years when I'm looking back, this is part of the next podcast story.
100%. The 29 project started it all.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we have a 30 project, 31 project. We'll see how long I can keep it going without you guys getting sick of me.
You're going to be like 75. Like, all right,
75. Stand up.
Literally, that's going to be the goal. I have two last questions for you.
Yeah.
One, these are questions that we ask every guest. One is, you have an influencer ick that you see when other creators do something. What is that for you? Or do you not have one?
No. Okay, my influencer ick is when someone won't follow you back. And this isn't about me. Like, if you are still worried about your ratio
oh my God, that's
as
so
an
crazy,
influencer with 100K, like, just follow someone back.
No,
I'm drunk in a bathroom, like at a bar in Boston.
Life,
and they're like, oh, I follow you. I go, what's your name? And I'll follow you back. It's like, if I've ever met you, I'm following you.
Right,
like, it's a Rolodex for me. Also, I'm really bad with names, so I need like picture.
That's how I am too. I'm like, anytime I meet somebody, I'm like, I don't know you by your name. I know you by like your handle.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is such a bad habit.
It's just good. Like, that's how I build like the memory structure of who you are. And I have no shame in it. I'm not worried about my ratio.
Yeah.
I'm never going to follow 88,000 people.
No.
Like, it's just not going to happen. So I think when I meet influencers, that you'll have really great conversations with them, and they'll be like, oh my God, let's hang out sometime. And then they just still no follow back. And I'm like, okay, my ego's not hurt by it. It's just a little weird.
That's
like,
so funny. That is a good one.
Intentional
and
with
it's
it.
so a thing in this industry.
Yeah, and I think maybe that just also comes from my background of, starting this later, like, in my later 20s, and having had a regular job and living most of my life just, social media wasn't that serious.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I met you, I follow you, like I follow.
It's not a big deal.
I look through, I'm like, I have no idea who this is, and I'll like the picture.
I meet someone in the bathroom, and I'm all the time. I'm like, hey, that's your Instagram.
Yeah, I think it's so that's probably my biggest ick.
Okay, that's a good one. One last question: what do you hope your social media legacy is?
I think that I can inspire people, or I hope that I can inspire people to live their life to their fullest, to do all the things they've always aspired to do, and also just have a good time doing it and it not being that serious.
Yeah.
And I think making an impact where it matters, for me, that means being an advocate for the LGBTQ plus community, and that I can pave a path for someone else that maybe looks like me to do a similar thing and do it without any fear or any hesitation. So I think that it's equal parts serious and fun. Like, I think in everything, like it's not that deep, and I think life is meant to be lived, and I think you can work hard and hit your dreams while kind of enjoying the whole experience in moderation.
Well, I think that will be. I think you're proof of that with everything that you're doing with the 29 Project and with your move to New York and all of the things.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have met you. And
I also hope they remember my wiener.
I will, for sure.
Yeah, and not via OnlyFans.
Yeah. Where can people follow you? Where can people listen to you?
Yeah, you can follow myself. My personal page is at the Matty Rossi across platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I show up, but not as much. And then you can follow the podcast also across platforms at The Scaries Pod. We stream on every major network where you can listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple Music. It is a video podcast as well, so you can tune into YouTube and find us there as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
I'm so
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Awesome. You guys can like, subscribe, comment on the podcast everywhere you get podcasts and everywhere podcasts are available. Follow Matty, follow me, and I will see you guys next week.
Bye.